So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
The symbolic frame provides an opportunity to engage within self-reflection, which leads towards creating meaning within one's lives, finding a sense of purpose, and understanding how symbols serve as a way to help us process information from different lenses and perspectives. This framework values the importance of using symbols, which allows one to build context and helping us to decide our own path, which promotes one to value the essence of meaning, faith, and one's belief systems, how it interplays within our lives, as stated by Bowman and Dale.
In this chapter, Bowman and Dale discuss symbolic assumptions and explain the various forms of symbols that take place in human organizations. Bowman and Dale start off with symbolic assumptions, which are split into 5 suppositions. The first assumption is it is more important to look at what things mean, suggesting that people need to look past what is actually happening. The second assumption is that activity and meaning are loosely coupled because people experience things differently. Events and actions can have multiple interpretations in which people will view accordingly as they identify it. The third assumption is that symbols help people resolve confusion, in which provides direction and becomes an anchor of hope and faith. The fourth assumption is that events and processes are often more important for what they express or signal than for their intent or outcomes. In other words, the importance of the journey rather than the destination. Lastly, the fifth assumption is that culture forms bonds. When individuals are able to share something in common, they are able to feel part of a community. Within organizations, culture helps people feel united, and which help the organization flourish. In the symbolic framework, Bowman and Dale quote Zott and Hoy's definition for a symbol. It stands for or suggests something else. It conveys socially constructed meanings beyond its eccentric or obvious functional use. The first organizational symbols are found in myths, visions, and values. Myths operate at a mystical level, which help explain things from the past. Within myths, organizations see them as a way to help support their values. The second organizational symbol is through heroes and heroines. In society, we often view heroes and heroines to be role models. Within organizations, they often are looked upon as prominent leaders that have showcased the organization's core values and has led the company to success. The third organizational symbol is through stories and fairy tales. Within effective organizations, they are filled with stories that have heroes and heroines or rags to riches stories which elicit motivation and hope. Bowman and Dale quote Denner with the 8 functions of stories: sparking action, communication, identity, branding, transmitting values, fostering collaboration, taming the grapevine, sharing knowledge, and leading people to the future. The fourth organizational symbol is in rituals. Bowman and Dale state enacting a ritual connects an individual or group to something mystical, more than words or rational thinking can capture. Rituals can be both personal and communal, like waking up and brushing your teeth every day. Within these rituals, it provides a sense of civilization. The fifth organizational symbol is ceremonies. They are similar to rituals but more grand. Normally, ceremonies are done for times of transition or for special occasion. Bowman and Dale explain that the 4 major roles of ceremonies are to socialize, stabilize, reassure, and convey messages. The sixth and last organizational symbol is through metaphors, humor, and play. Bowman and Dale explain how metaphors help simplify complex ideas. As for humor and play, it helps diffuse tense situations. As it diffuses any tensions, we let people relax and viewed to be playful. This chapter closes off with organizations viewed as cultures. Some companies have spent years to make sure their organizational culture is what it is today, whereas some stood tall and followed their core values to bring it success. For example, BMW is known to be a high luxury car brand who prides themselves in innovation and commitment. However, this only started after 1959, where BMW almost went bankrupt. From this lesson, BMW sought to make sure that each car goes through numerous stages of brainstorming and make sure their members are in tune with their values. Looking at a different company like Nordstrom, it is remembered for their high-quality service. The start of the Nordstrom culture is taken from the start of the company. They believe their philosophical principle was that the customer is always right. As this company grew, they made sure to keep close to the roots. To do so, Nordstrom reinforces store-wide rituals such as their employee handbook that emphasize pleasing the customer. In addition, Nordstrom puts on periodic ceremonies like monthly store powwows that go over customer letters of appreciation. Overall, Bowman and Dale state Organizational symbols and culture center on the complexity and ambiguity and emphasizes the idea that symbols mediate the meaning of work.
What causes a team to accomplish the impossible? To beat the odds, to create the newest innovation in technology. In Chapter 13, Culture in Action, Bowman and Deal argue that we often try to attribute success to extraordinary individuals, enlightened structural design, or political harmony, rather than looking deeper into the complexities of a group dynamic. In this chapter, Bowman and Deal focus on 9 symbolic tenets that can help to explain the complexities of one high-achieving team and how they accomplished the impossible. These 9 tenets were based on the observations of Tracy Kidder, an American writer, who interacted intimately with a group of engineers who outperformed all other divisions in the microcomputer firm Data General to create a new machine. The first tenet outlines the importance of how someone becomes a part of the group. Joining a team is a mutual choice marked by some form of ritual. Rituals give the membership to a team a feeling of sanctity, importance, and loyalty. The second tenet discusses how diversity gives the team a competitive edge. In this context, diversity referred to the different types of personality, thought processes, leadership style, and specialty. The third tenet is example, not command, holds a team together. In the team's context, Tom West, their project leader, gave inspiration and direction in subtle ways. West was a genius for finding drama and romance in everyday routine. But never really giving explicit directions or decisions, West helped the team towards its common goal of creating a new machine. The fourth tenet is specialized language. Having team-specific jargon fosters cohesion and commitment to the group. The language both reflects and shapes the group culture, as well as reinforcing culture-specific values and beliefs, and binds the group together as a visible sign of membership. The fifth tenet explains how stories carry history, values, and group identity. Like myths and legends, stories of group traditions keep them alive and provide examples for everyday behavior. This was exemplified by the third tenet of leading by example. As the stories were told about the Eagle team's leadership, it reinforced their subtle yet powerful influence on the team. Humor and play is the sixth tenet. Effective teams know how to balance humor and play. Humor releases tension and helps to resolve issues arising from day-to-day routines, as well as from sudden emergencies. The joking and playful banter are essential sources of invention, creativity, and team spirit. For the Eagle team, humor and play gave relaxation, stimulation, enlightenment, and spiritual renewal to continue their work. In addition to humor and play, the seventh tenet, ritual and ceremony, lifts spirits and reinforces the group's dedication to a shared mission. To the group, what occurs on the surface is not nearly as important as the deeper meaning communicated below. This was shown by the group's festivities held by the leadership, which called attention to the values of creativity, hard work, and teamwork. The eighth tenet, which is the contribution of informal cultural players, played a huge role in team dynamics. These people deal with human issues outside of formal channels in order to maintain traditions, give blessings, listen to the problems or confessions of members of the group, encourage ceremonies, and act as advocates or protectors by interceding in extremely important matters. The last tenet, and arguably the most significant one, is that soul is the secret of success. The Eagle team's dedication to what could be considered a suicidal mission to achieve the impossible is all deduced to their willingness to do whatever it takes to complete their mission. Venice says it best by remarking that all great groups believe that they are on a mission from God, that they could change the world, make a dent in the universe. They are obsessed with their work. It becomes not a job, but a fervent quest. That belief is what brings the necessary cohesion and energy to their work. In conclusion, the symbolic perspective questions the traditional view that building a team mainly entails putting the right people in the right structure. Peak performance emerges as a team discovers its soul.
Symbolic leaders view their organizational structure as a theater. Various components interplay to produce an effective outcome that generates meaning. The structure of this framework is compared to the layout of a stage design, which consists of an arrangement of space, lighting, props, and costumes that make drama vivid and credible to its audience, as stated by Ballman and Dale. When these components come together, it leads towards accomplishing a goal and purpose. This framework uses the analogy of a stage design for readers to understand how meetings, planning, the exercise of power, and symbolic management plays an important role within the symbolic framework. The symbolic leadership framework strongly believes in meetings. So meetings provide an opportunity for engagement, communication, unity to promote positive change and creates an open dialogue among individuals. It raises the questions: what problems, concerns, or needs were on their minds? What solutions or suggestions did they bring? Planning. There are 4 symbolic roles that plans make. Plans are symbols, plans become games, plans become excuses for interaction, and plans become advertisements. Evaluation. So implementing evaluation demonstrates one's dedication and commitment towards gaining a different insight and forming a new set of belief systems. Collective bargaining. This process allows for different perspectives to be heard and ultimately to proceed in behalf of the organization's missions and goals. The main issue is balancing the power between the 2 different parties. Feelings of disappointment, resentment, frustration, anger, and gaining accessibility led towards drama and conflict. For example, in 2012, the United States encountered a fiscal cliff, the rise of taxes resulting in economic turmoil. Power. It is important to ask the question, how does the symbolic framework describe a leader or leadership through their perspective? A leader creates dialogue by reflecting upon one's beliefs and faith, which allows their mission and goal to make a difference. Managing impressions. Researchers propose that symbols are more effective than numbers in deciding who gets funded in their projects. The main question is, why were the entrepreneurs successful in their leadership approach? By using meaningful symbols, they were able to connect with their audience, emphasize personal commitment, focus their attention to unique processes. I provided 3 examples of symbolic leaders who value this leadership style as stated by Bowman and Dale. Overall, symbolic leaders value making a difference, being true to their values, understanding the value of meaning and purpose, and these factors play an important role within the symbolic framework.
This nation will rise up.
We are going to be the kids that you read
live
about.
out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
In conclusion, the symbolic frame focuses on how myth and symbols help humans to make sense of the chaotic, ambiguous world in which we live. Meaning is not given to us, we create it. It is through the heart, soul, myths, and theater that we are lifted above our capacity in the ordinary to attain powerful visions for the future and the ability to breathe life into those visions to create a new reality.